Reminders before we get started. We're going to start with an opening statement from the head coach, followed with questions for the student athletes. At the conclusion of the questions for the student athletes, they'll be dismissed. The questions for the head coach can start. Please raise your hand and someone will come around with a microphone. Please give your name and media affiliation. If you're joining on Zoom, please use the raise hand function for questions. We'll address the questions in the room first and get to Zoom if time allows. Now we'll start the opening statement from the head coach, John Calipari.
Let me first of all tell you, Oakland played a heck of a game. And they made some unbelievable shots. We were basically in a box and one late. You know, you go through this, and I've been the ups and downs of this sport. But this one, I'm really hurting for them because there's other years your team, you max out and you lose a game and you're like, geez. This team, I really felt, could have done so much more. And our fans were here again. I feel bad for our fans. Wish, we would have played a little bit better, but it's hard when I look at this and I go, this season, these guys got so much better. We're so good to each other. It's celebrated. To define their season and our season with this game, it's the sport we're in. It's it's what we do. But that's what I'm disappointed for them because they deserve this. The preparation, I thought they were great. I thought the spirit was great. I thought we tried to keep it light. But this is this tournament, this kind of stuff, and this one hit me hard for them, because again, I just thought I had a team that could do some stuff.
Okay, representing Kentucky student athletes are Trey Mitchell and Antonio Reeves. Questions for the student athletes. Right here, to the left front.
Cameron Drummond with the Lexington Herald Leader. Trey, I know it's difficult so soon after a loss, but when you reflect back on this season, your first and only season at Kentucky, just what did it mean to you and what was it like to go through this experience with this group of guys as well?
It was an unbelievable opportunity for me, to get experience under Coach Cal. Pick his mind a little bit as far as how he sees the game and the players that he's been around. And a special group of guys, man, young guys, but unbelievably talented. And like Coach said, they've grown so much over the course of this season. And it's March, it's March. You see what some teams are capable of doing. Obviously, it's not the desired outcome, but you got to live with what reality is for us. But I've enjoyed every single second of being at Kentucky. I got an opportunity to live out a dream, and I've built bonds with people that'll last a lifetime.
And I enjoyed coaching you.
Thank you.
All right, questions for student athletes. Right here in the middle aisle.
John Clay, Lexington Herald Leader. For either of you guys, when Golke kept hitting those threes, a lot of times with hands in his face and so forth, how demoralizing was that for you? And is it hard to then focus on what you're trying to do when he keeps knocking down those threes?
Antonio, can you take that?
Yeah, it was. He's a good shooter. Yes, it is. He kept shooting the ball. He missed a couple, but he made it. He made a lot of them, and he made some really tough shots down the stretch. That we was in his face, and it was kind of one of those things where it's March, like Trey said, and they're gonna hit some tough shots at the end, and we just gotta keep playing.
Right here in the middle aisle, to the left.
Mike Osti, yard worker. Trey, how does this experience, you're with the Blue Blood, you're a high seed, but you fall in an upset compared to last year, similar situation, but not as much a blue blood, not much as much of a favored situation with West Virginia?
I'm sorry. Can you repeat that?
Just how does this situation of losing this game with Kentucky compare to when you're with the Mountaineers last year in the tournament and losing that game? You believed you should win, but it was more of an even matchup where you weren't the heavy favorite going in.
You know, this time around, I mean, last year I was in tears, I was bawling. This time it's like I have so many emotions going on that I can't feel them. Like I'm just kind of numb right now, and I'm sure it'll hit me, but this one hurts a lot. You know, it hurts. It's obviously not the desired outcome, and now you're on the headlines of a Cinderella story when you know that we had the potential to make a really deep run in this thing.
Questions for student athletes. Right here. This will be the last one. Second row right.
Tyler Thompson, Kentucky Sports Radio. For Trey and Antonio, just talk about what this team meant to you. It seemed like you had a really special bond.
Antonio, you want to start?
Yeah, we definitely had a really special bond. Everybody connected. Everybody stayed together. We went out together. You know, we played the game together. We did everything together. And, you know, these bonds are going to last a lifetime. And it's going to be one of those things where, you know, I could just pick up the phone. I could call one of them. You know, it was those type of deals. So, you know, it's definitely, you know, devastating. But, you know, you just got to keep your head up.
Trey.
I mean, I loved every single second of it. You know, I loved these dudes, and I loved seeing them grow through the time that we had together. Like Tonio said, these are bonds that'll last a lifetime, that we'll run into these dudes down the road. Whether you stop talking now, I feel like no matter how much time goes by between you talking to somebody on this team, when you see him, it's going to be like there was no time apart, you know. And I really did enjoy it thoroughly, just laughing, joking, competing with these guys every single day. It really was a blessing.
All right. Thank you, student athletes.
Thanks. Good job, kid.
All right. Questions for Coach Calipari. Left front.
Cameron Drummond, Lexington Herald leader. John, you said many times that this team was built for March. What went wrong tonight to kind of go away from your belief in the team? You know, what happened tonight to kind of go away from what you thought this team could be?
We made some critical mistakes at critical times again today. I mean, we had our chances. As good as they played and as many shots as they made, we still had our chances, and both on defense and offense. And when you have a really young team and you look at where did the mistakes come from, they were freshmen. They had performed on the road in hostile environments that I didn't expect some of the stuff today. But they have gotten so much better in what they're doing. They never stopped. They fought. We just made some errors. But I come back to this one hurt because they are the kind of team you love coaching. And, you know, I wanted them to advance because of all that they've been through. And I wanted them to have a chance to relish and cherish this event. I've been through it 20-some times. My teams have done really well. We've lost a couple of these now. But them, this is their time. We're better than we played, but you got to give Oakland credit. I mean, they out-rebounded. They got 16 offensive rebounds. Come on. One of them was late. Come on. I mean, we've had that issue, but, you know, there was some breakdown stuff, but, you know, we had our chances.
Middle aisle, right there.
Yeah, John Clay with the Herald Leader. John, as you mentioned, you've lost a couple of these now. Were there any similarities to this game and that game? And also, I know you did things to try to get them, you want them to play loose. You did things like taking them bowling and that sort of thing, but they look like they played tight. Did you feel they played tight?
I don't know. You have to ask them, but I thought they were anxious. And when you're anxious, you get really tired really fast. So we had a couple guys that started the game and were exhausted within a minute and a half, 2 minutes. So I think they were a little anxious. But I'll tell you, at halftime, we're down a bucket, and these guys are in there, and they're, we make our run. You think, okay, we got this. And, there were three. We miss a dunk, we miss a layup, we miss another play, and all of a sudden it becomes anybody's ball game. And they were playing with house money, and they made shots, and we didn't. But you have to ask them. I mean, we did nothing. Like, even me during the game, you have to admit, like, I wasn't saying anything to the officials. I was just trying to encourage, and we can do this, and, trying to push some buttons to get the right combinations out there. But they're freshmen. We don't know how they're going to respond in this stuff. I didn't hear.
Were there similarities?
No, we were beat up that game. I mean, Kellen, if he didn't have the plantar fasciitis, we were a beat up team. Ty had a high ankle sprain. I mean, and we still had our chances to win, and we messed around and lost. But this was the full roster. I thought Aaron played well. I thought he did some good stuff. But, we weren't quite tough enough to get some of those balls and some of the baskets they scored around the goal. I just come back to, I hate it for these guys that people try to define this season by that game. And it's natural, and it's how this business works. But this group was a ball to coach. And, we did things to help them and bring them together, and they did it for each other. They've got great hearts. And, that's what's devastating about this for me. I've lost tough games before, and we've won some really buzzer-beater games, pulling game. I mean, I've been through everything in my career. So, but this is one that's like, man.
All right, questions back middle.
John, it seems to be pretty well agreed upon that this was a very connected team. Is it possible for teams to sometimes care too much about each other, because there were a lot of the big mistakes that were made through the course of this season on late plays were overhelp, overcommitment to try to help a teammate? Is that logical?
Some of it was on offense. Just, why'd you do that? And they're not machines, and they're not robots. And, they need the experience of some of this stuff, so when you're in this environment, you can do it. And I thought we went through every experience I could talk about. We were losing more than one game for 36 minutes and came back and won the game. So we did that a couple times. So, but maybe overhelp, maybe sometimes I think they're so talented that they would try to take over a game themselves. That's more offensively. Or doing what you're saying, Mike, just leave. Why did you do that? I'm going to go make a play defensively. Well, no. Or I'm going to make the play offensively, so I'm going to take the next 3 shots. Okay, you missed 3 now. Now we have an issue. Now we're down 5. And so sometimes when you're that talented, you're like, okay, let me take this over. The good news is I thought that was something that would play good for us, where we could get separation from people. But in this kind of game, it kind of hurt us.
All right, we just got questions for 2 more, right here on the right and then left middle.
Cal, you talked about a lot of player mistakes. What is something that you feel like you could have or should have done to help these guys?
I tried to call a timeout and I should have been quicker to the trigger on the pass across court. I was yelling timeout, but I got it late when I knew. I saw the court, and I went, timeout, and he let go of the ball. So I could have done that. I think maybe more box and one earlier. Now, he scored, we fouled him once, and he scored a 3, even when we were in that. But I think we could have gone earlier to that. But hindsight, when you're coaching, if you did something and we had won this game, you were a genius. And if you don't do it, you're the bad guy and all that stuff. But like I said, I thought the preparation was what it needed to be, because you cannot in this tournament come in and start changing. You change everything. Now they get tight. Now they think too much versus just play. So we made some just adjustments to what we were doing offensively. We're one of the best zone teams in the country, to be honest with you. And we missed a bunch of shots today.
All right, last question right here, left middle.
C.L. Brown, excuse me, Louisville Courier-Journal. John, what kind of an impact does a game like this have in St. Peter's a couple of years ago just on your philosophy moving forward? Does that mean different scheduling approaches? Does that mean different roster approaches in terms of veterans?
It's a good question. Like, I've done this with young teams my whole career, and it's going to be hard for me to change that, because we've helped so many young people and their families that I don't see myself just saying, okay, we're not going to recruit freshmen. And I mean, the thing that we've been blessed with is families bring their sons to us, and we do what we're supposed to do to help them prepare for the rest of their lives. But I've taken some older guys, and we've done it. I like what we were doing offensively. How do we get tougher? How do we get more physical? My teams defensively and rebounding have all been better than this, but we've never been like this offensively. And I kind of like coaching the way I did this year. So we've got to figure out who's coming back and who's not. We got this transfer stuff going on. We may not need it. We have an unbelievable group coming in that I feel really good about. We add some guys and they stay. I mean, I'll meet with them tonight. I talked to them after, but I'm going to meet with them in my room tonight. And these guys took this really hard. I mean, they took it really hard. I mean, and I took it hard. I'll say it again. I feel bad for our fans who all traveled again. They're here. These kids, they know they're playing for these fans and our fans, who are the best in the country. They travel. They're everywhere. And I imagine they're hurting like we are hurting. So I'll look at other ways that we can do stuff. But, there's this thing here. It's a different animal. We've been able to help so many kids and win so many games and Final Fours, national titles, and all this stuff, win league championships with young guys. It's changed on us. All of a sudden it's gotten really old. So we're playing teams that our average age is 19. Their average age is 24 and 25. So do I change because of that? Maybe add a couple older guys to supplement, but that's what these two did. And if Trey doesn't get hurt, it's a little bit different. But thank you.
Thanks, Coach.